Chess has produced some truly unbelievable games, from brilliant sacrifices to attacks so deep they shocked the entire chess world. And today we're going to be looking at 5 of the greatest chess games ever played, and the final game might just be the best attacking masterpiece in chess history. We're going to start off with none other than the Immortal Game, which was played in 1851 with Adolf Anderssen, and in this era, known as the Romantic era, everything is about attacking the king, which is why we see moves like this allowing this check to come in, because both sides are so aggressive and wanting to attack their king's side. So in the game, they play this move b5, the first sacrifice, because if you capture it, which is what's played in the game, you now activate the opponent's bishop, and it'll start to activate their pieces. So they play knight f6, and as you will see, after some developing moves here, both sides are quickly shifting their pieces towards the opponent's king. Now they play the move c6, and although the best move is to drop the bishop back, Adolf Anderssen first plays this move g4. Now, what is the idea behind g4? If they capture here, you play rook g1, and you're doing this to maintain this pin. So we're obviously threatening to attack the knight here. And if the knight were to move, you play h4, and now notice that the queen has nowhere to run to. Of course, if it goes here, it's captured, so their only move is here. You now play this move, and after this sequence, it looks like black is fine, and black is up material. But after a move like bishop e7, notice the queen is completely trapped here. So, if we go back a little bit, instead of playing down this line, instead after the move g4, they first play knight f6, and now rook g1 is played, again sacrificing the bishop, because Adolf Anderssen is doing everything he can to attack the opponent. Now, in this position, you notice it's very similar. This move, queen f3, is threatening to capture here on f4 and trap the queen, so they go back. Now, what is the big deal behind this? Because actually, white is down 2 points of material. But again, his activity is so great here. He has so many pieces that are developed, and black has no development aside from this queen, which is currently under attack. So the game continues, and in here, this move is played where they're attacking our rook, but we attack their queen. Now they capture, and here is the first move that stunned everyone. Bishop d6. What is the idea behind this move? You may look at this and say, well, now they're sacrificing the rook. But if you go here and they capture the other rook, notice it's actually going to be a forced checkmate. Their only move is here, and this is checkmate in 1. So instead, after this move is played, black decides to actually capture the rook this way. And now e5 is played. Another amazing move. Again, the engine says it's a miss, but after the rook is captured here, here is the whole idea. Because now after knight a6, thinking, well, I'm going to stop this, checkmate here, where they play this move here and having this checkmate, it seems like black is fine. But Adolf Anderssen stunned the world and got the name for this match as the Immortal Game, because he now gives the check and black thinks I'm fine. But what is the move that Adolf Anderssen plays? He now plays the stunning, brilliant move, queen f6. And the king cannot run anywhere, so they're forced to capture here. But what is the problem with this move? Now we have bishop e7, checkmate. Now the second game comes from a prodigy, comes from Mikhail Tal, who was playing a former world champion known as Vasily Smyslov. I think that is how you pronounce it. Now Mikhail Tal was known as the magician from Riga. And in this game, this is the 1959 Candidates Tournament, and he stuns the world. Because while most players at this time prefer careful positional play, Mikhail Tal is all about aggressive attacks. As you can see, he's already blown up the center, and after a few moves here, we get chaos. Because now the move is played knight d6, everything seems to be stable, and here is where the game blows up. The bishop is under attack, and so first he attacks the queen, and after the queen moves, the first brilliant move of the game comes right here. Now, first of all, before I show the move, the reason that he plays this move is, of course, if you capture here, he will be able to take with check, and white has a pretty significant advantage. So, after this move, the bishop saves itself, and now queen h4, a brilliant move, sacrificing the bishop here. They do capture the bishop, and now you will see why it's so brilliant. Because queen g5 is threatening a checkmate in 1. After knight h5, which again is another brilliant move, because it's preventing checkmate, and also the queen is under attack, Tal, being the player that he is, now plays this move knight h6 check, and after they run, queen h5. Now the engine says everything is equal, but now you guys are about to see some stunning moves, because in this position, after knight f6, with the knight hanging and the queen under attack, Tal plays the brilliant move, queen takes f7. Now, this game ended up winning the Brilliancy Prize for the entire tournament. Now, this game did not end here. But if they had captured the queen, you now have this check, and it is actually going to be a forced checkmate. So after queen f7, black thinks, I'm going to be creative, and I'm going to stop this rook from infiltrating by first giving a check here. forcing this move to come, queen d2, and now the queen is free to be captured. Of course, our queen is hanging as well, but after this sequence of moves here, it looks like maybe black is fine, but don't forget, white is actually up 2 points of material in this position, and the game ends very quickly because after bishop b6, the move the Tal plays, the very calm and collected bishop d4. And the game ends because this knight is hanging, and believe it or not, this bishop is hanging too. Because if the knight runs away, because again, Tal is up 3 points of material, so black wants to keep the pieces on the board. But after this move, you can now capture the bishop, because if they capture back, you win the rook. Now, this next game comes from one of the best moves in chess history. This is one of the most famous moves and one of the most famous games. Now, this game is still known today as the game of the century. This is played by Robert James Fischer. He was 13 years old, also known as Bobby Fischer, was 13 years old when he joined this New York tournament against no other than Donald Byrne, one of the best chess masters at the time. Now, in this game, we have multiple brilliant moves, as I'm going to quickly show you guys. After bishop g5, knight a4, a brilliant move. What is the idea behind knight a4? Completely sacrificing the knight. Because if the knight is captured here, we go down this sequence with knight takes e4. They capture here because they have a double attack, or they're protected by the queen here. But now after rook e8, if they capture, this is just a sample line that we would go down. And of course, this bishop is hanging, and black, according to the engine, is actually up 2.68. But if we go back, they did not capture and instead played queen a3. Now we trade down, and we have a very similar idea, but knight takes c3, another brilliant move. And this is starting to form the position that allowed Bobby Fischer to have one of the most famous chess games in chess history. Because in this position, he first gives a check, and keep in mind, the queen is hanging in this position. But now, Bobby Fischer plays the brilliant, the beautiful move, bishop e6. Because once the queen is captured here, we now give a check, and you're going to see how Bobby Fischer coordinates all of his pieces to create a stunning checkmate. Because now, after these sequences of checks, and these are all forced moves, now after knight c3, what do we play? It seems like maybe there's just going to be repetition. Is Bobby Fischer just going to draw this game by continuing the sequence of checks here? He's not. He takes here, attacking the queen. The queen is forced to move. Queen b4 is the best move in the position, and now rook a4. Now when they capture here, we win the rook, and it seems like maybe white can hold on. But again, piece activity is very important, and black's pieces are so well coordinated. They're all very active and on the opponent's side of the board, ready to strike. Now, the game continues here, and you guys will see a stunning checkmate. Because in this position, now we have bishop c5 check, and when they move, knight g3 check. They move. These are all forced moves, by the way. They have no other move. Bishop b3, king c1, knight e2, and Bobby Fischer calculated all of these lines for this beautiful checkmate. Look at how well his pieces are coordinated. But now we have a game, the next game set on the biggest stage of chess history. This is the final game of the 2016 World Chess Championship with Magnus Carlsen against Sergei Karjakin, and Magnus only needed a draw to win this tournament, which is why you see his opponent playing the Sicilian and playing some aggressive lines. But as the game starts to form, again, we have moves like a5 trying to be aggressive because black has to play for a win. That's their only chance here. But Magnus, calm and collected, creates a very solid position where, as you guys will briefly see, his pieces are very well coordinated, and he starts to control the center of the board. Now, after just a few more developing moves, we start to get into a position where Magnus actually has a lot of attacking opportunities. The game continues. I'm not trying to spend a ton of time on these moves because I want to show you guys some brilliant lines that we get down. Again, black is doing everything to try and hold this position, but Magnus is trading the pieces. If you can tell, Magnus is also up a pawn in this position. He has a fork here. He's up a ton of material, and it seems like everything is in Magnus's favor. But very quickly, black actually starts to create this strong attack where all of a sudden they start to infiltrate here. There's a little bit of a queen infiltration, and all of a sudden in this line, there's a check, and it looks like Magnus is in trouble because now this move, queen f2, comes in, and black is threatening a checkmate in one. And Magnus plays rook c8, and it seems like there's two checkmates all over the board. It seems like there's checkmates everywhere, and white must be in trouble. But Magnus played what is often described as the best move in World Chess Championship history, and he plays the beautiful move, queen h6. Sacrificing the queen, because if the pawn captures, this is checkmate in one, and alternatively, if the king captures, this is also going to be checkmate in one. Now, if you've stuck around long enough, I said this might be the greatest attacking chess masterpiece in chess history. Now, this was played in 1999, and Kasparov was widely described as the best chess player at the time. And in this game, this is still pretty much considered to be one of the best attacking masterpieces. Because as you can see, White's pieces are very well coordinated, but it seems like there's no trouble, and there is no trouble. It's only a very slight advantage for White. But as the game continues, very quickly, we get into a very dangerous position where White is on a very powerful attack. Again, everything seems stable here, but now the first stunning move of the game comes in. Rook takes d4. Now, his opponent accepts this sacrifice and takes here. And do you guys see the brilliant move that he played in this position? He now plays Rook e7, a brilliant move, because if this is captured, we go down this line with a check. And after this sequence, this is a forced move here. They must block, because remember, this bishop is also cutting off the king. And of course, if queen blocks, of course, the knight would just take it. So they block here, but this is a forced mate. So they cannot capture the rook on e7. But it gets even more brilliant, because in this position, he now takes, sacrificing the knight. Because now he gives a check and plays another brilliant move, queen c3. Because if the rook is captured, this is checkmate in 1. So instead, after queen c3, they take on d5, preventing the checkmate. Now rook a7 threatens another checkmate. They play bishop b7 to stop the checkmate, but does it work? It does not, because now they take, and if this played, this is also checkmate. Queen b3 is also checkmate. So instead, oh, hold on, I went way too far back. Let me go back all the way, guys. Let me see it. In this position, they play the move queen c4. They do not accept the rook. But now we play another move, queen f6, threatening another checkmate by taking the pawn on a6. So they take, and they think, I'm fine. But now after this sequence, we have a line here where king takes c3, and all of a sudden the king gets walked out into White's territory. Now, bishop f1, another brilliant move. Have you ever seen this many brilliant moves in the game? Because if the queen captures here, this is going to be a forced mate. Because in this position, the queen must block, and this is checkmate in 1. What else can you play? If you simply move the queen away, this is actually checkmate in 1. So instead, they play this move, rook d2, trying to hold everything together and attacking our queen. But now, rook d7, another brilliant move, because they cannot capture here because it's pinned to the king. So what can they play? They take the queen here, they take their rook here, but the whole idea behind this brilliant move is because after they capture the rook, we now can take their queen. And now after this sequence, we take their free rook, and the game ends very shortly in this position. And as you can tell, this game is still described as one of the greatest attacking chess masterpieces in all of chess history. This game and all of these games show just how beautiful and creative chess can be. Which game was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoy chess content like this and chess history, consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to have you guys. Thank you all so much for watching.